Canada is not a very unified country. We have multiple separatist movements, and only one of our many founding cultures is properly recognized. First, we have the growing separatist movement in Alberta. Polls say that about a third of Albertans support separation. Separatist movement stems from two main issues. First is the way wealth is shared among provinces. Alberta is by far the richest province due to its oil industry, and therefore it has the most to lose from provincial wealth being reallocated to less fortunate provinces. Alberta's GDP is quickly outpacing other provinces, but the rising wealth inequality due to population growth is putting strain on the average Joe. And instead of blaming the rich oil barons that are the ones benefiting most from the wealth inequality and also the actual problem here, those same rich oil barons shift the blame to the federal government for stealing money from Alberta to give to provinces in need. These lies have helped lead to the unrest in this province. The second is restrictions on the Albertan oil industry, which Alberta relies on. This may seem totally unfair at face value until you realize the damage that the oil and sands industry does to the environment. About 10% of Canada's total carbon emissions are directly from oil sands. Oil production via oil sands also leaves tailings ponds, which are extremely dangerous to wildlife. Even despite the restrictions, Alberta is the richest province in Canada and still growing. There is enough money in Alberta to deal with the economic unrest. That money is just concentrated in those rich oil barons who to get out of blame, are shifting the blame to the federal government for slowing progress, creating a separatist movement, and shattering our already fragile unity. Next, we have the neglection of French culture in Canada, which has also sparked a separatist movement, which has spawned multiple referendums. And unlike Albertan separatism, the points they bring up are justified. Only 18% of this entire country is bilingual, despite our country having 2 official languages. And despite French being taught in school, it does not result in fluent French speakers. The way that French is taught in schools involves more around grammar rules and conjugation, rather than being able to actually communicate. My parents have gone through core French. They cannot speak French. I have gone through core French. I can't speak French either. The system needs to change to probably teach people French. That could involve mandatory French immersion or a change of how French is taught in schools. But having only 20% of our country speak one of our official languages is a disgrace. French culture is not being preserved, and the country is facing the consequences. One of our 4 main political parties is literally a Quebecois separatist party. That is not a sign of a unified country. Another of our founding cultures that is neglected is that of Indigenous peoples. Not only have they had over 90% of their land stolen, they live in conditions where only 1 in 6, let me repeat that, 1 in 6 people are living in suitable housing. And they have major corporations infringing on their land and polluting their waters and their land as well. They also have had their cultural practices infringed upon, with activist groups trying to stop traditional deer hunts and seal hunts, with racism often hiding beneath the surface of these movements. We are not treating Indigenous people as one of our founding cultures. The original people of this land lived in unsuitable conditions with over 90% of their land being stolen, and the land that they do have is still being stolen. We treat the Indigenous people of this land terribly. There is a rift between them and us in many ways that needs to be lifted. It needs to be filled. Canada is not a united country. There's a large number of people who actively don't want to be Canadian. There's barely any Indigenous representation in government, and there's no single province where the majority of the population is bilingual in a country with 2 official languages. Anyways, that's my rant. Bye.